This is from Mostly Positive, who thinks that Xbox going third party is the right move. Xbox going third party is the right move? Is this person right? Let's watch him find out.
Let's kick off this video by saying Xbox went third party a long time ago.
Yep. They've been saying that he was going to go third party, or that they were going to go third party a long time ago. They have talked about this. They have marketing campaigns around it. But the issue is when they start releasing on PlayStation and Nintendo, right? So they're already an ecosystem, which is why I say ecosystem in most of my videos. Let's hear what else this person has to say.
I can't be bothered to search it up. That's journalism, baby. But I'm fairly certain that Gears 4, along with a few other titles like Forza, were part of a lineup of games for a new initiative Microsoft launched called Play Anywhere.
All right. He said he can't look it up. Let's look it up. Xbox Play Anywhere. Wow. There's literally a website about it. Now, when you own an Xbox Play Anywhere digital title, it's yours to play on both Xbox, Windows 10, and 11 PC. And then we all know that this is a thing, right? When was it announced? Gigantic was announced. Xbox Play Anywhere is fantastic from 2023. So yeah, it's been around for a while.
Games featuring the Play Anywhere logo meant that if you purchased your game on the Xbox or Windows Store, you would be able to play it on both your Xbox or PC. One purchase, no drawbacks, no hidden fees, no selling your soul to Microsoft. This was one of the most forward...
Let's be honest. We all use Windows for the most part, right? So yeah.
Thinking and consumer-friendly moves Microsoft has ever made. And while there were very few...
What was that? What did this person say?
No selling your soul to Microsoft. This was one of the most forward-thinking and consumer-friendly moves Microsoft has ever made.
Do you agree with that statement? Being able to play your games on Xbox and PC, cross progression, being able to play your games via xCloud, and all of that sort of works in one ecosystem. Do you agree that that is pro-consumer, that is a positive for the Xbox ecosystem? I'm just talking about Windows, Xbox, and xCloud. That's all I'm talking about. Do you like that? Generally, yes, it is very good. I would agree. I think that it was a good thing. I love that I could play my games anywhere. I agree that that was tremendously pro-consumer.
Xbox titles on PC before this, the Xbox Play Anywhere initiative was the first real attempt and transition to becoming a third-party developer.
You know what else they did that was great? Backwards compatibility. The games that are backwards compatible are also wonderful. I absolutely agree.
Look, guys, I've always played everything under the sun, but when it came to Xbox versus PlayStation, I'm an Xbox kid through and through.
Me too. Let me make that clear. I still prefer Xbox. I always have. I've played since the original Xbox. It was always doing something that intrigued me. And a lot of people have looked back at the Xbox One and thought, yeah, you know what? We were kind of wrong about this thing because now everybody just does this anyway. So the Xbox One got a lot of hate. And I've publicly talked about my problems with the Xbox One and why it's problematic. But I think it was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, not everybody else thought that way.
I had friends throughout my elementary school days who owned an original Xbox, and I would play Halo 1 and 2 with them. It was awesome. I have good memories of that. The first...
Bro, same. I absolutely agree with this person. Like, do you remember how awesome it was to come home and play Halo 2 all night? Or even Halo 3? I played Halo 2 so many times. I played through it again when the Master Chief Collection came out. Those games are so good. They're very, very fun.
First Xbox console I personally owned was the sleek and sexy Xbox 360 Slim. God damn.
Okay, you know which one I had? this is going off on a little bit of a tangent. My original Xbox was the OG white one. And I worked at UPS at the time. I would collect Mountain Dew bottle caps and put them in a bag. And one of the people who did like all of the collection and everything, I kind of told them what I was doing, and they would just hand me like bottle caps that they had collected. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing, like, it was very kind of them to do. And I won my 360. I would look at the times when it had the lowest amount of entries because I worked graveyard at the time, right? So I worked graveyard at the time, and I would calculate or just watch trends and say, that is the lowest time period in terms of entries for the Xbox 360. I am going to stack up all of my entries, because you could like sort of stack them and like enter as many as I possibly can at that time. So my odds of winning went from like 1 in a million to like 75% chance I was going to win one, because like 500 people would enter at that time, and I'm dumping 300 code redemptions at that time period. They gave away so many 360s with that Mountain Dew thing. It was like every hour they gave away a 360. Anyway,
one of the best console designs to ever exist.
It's nice.
I started off with Halo 3 and ODST and immediately bought
Oh, so good. And did you hear the news about the Halo ODST game that was supposed to be a lot like Helldivers that Microsoft didn't support? Yeah. So that happened. Anyway, he's getting to his point. The point of the video is about how going third party is the right move.
Banjo-Kazooie on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah.
A few months later for Christmas, I got Halo Reach and Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah.
Two of the most memorable and critically acclaimed games to their respective franchises. The Xbox 360 and the 360 era itself was nothing short.
Halo is so good. What happened? Halo was so good. Halo was so good. I love Halo so much.
Of magical. Hopping on Xbox right after school, shooting the shit with your friends, and talking about it the next day on the bus, the classroom, or during lunch. It was the absolute best, and it defined the childhood of so many people around the world. Xbox has done so much for so many, and it's why I always had pride in sticking with the underdog.
Is that real art from the game? Is that a scene from what would have been Halo Reach, right? And by the way, I think the new season of the show isn't half bad. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's pretty good, though. I was very surprised by that and happy. But yeah, man, the Bungie days with Halo were so good. I think Infinite's pretty good, but is it better than the Bungie days? No. But it was on the right path, and then 343, you know. But I think Infinite, I kind of want to like look at Infinite again.
They supported many indie developers.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Like he's just talking about why I love Xbox. Back in the day, in the 360 day, I could have made a game on the 360. I want to say they used Unity back in the day. Like when I went to school for game design, I was messing around, and I've probably talked about it a lot on the channel, but I would mess around in 3ds Max. I made some character models. I did a few animations in 3ds Max at the time. But at that time when we were in school, they're like, you could release on Xbox. They have this whole program that allows small developers to release their game. And that was at a time when like Limbo and Braid was being created. Super Meat Boy. Yeah. All of these super awesome games were being created at the time. And Xbox was doing a lot to support the smaller creator. ID at Xbox continues that in some respects. There's a lot of reasons to love Xbox.
Through the ID at Xbox program by providing free dev kits and helping to promote up-and-coming games. And let's not forget the Xbox Adaptive Controller that helped many people with disabilities.
These are all reasons Xbox is great, but he's not getting to the point yet of why them going third party is the right move. So I'm going to let him talk for a bit.
First reaction to that was literally 1, holy and 2, holy I mean, why? The market for that can't possibly be big enough to truly bother with. But they did it, and that's cool.
And I believe that either PlayStation heard about them doing it, or seeing this got PlayStation off their butts to do it. Just like Xbox doing Xbox Live got PlayStation to come up with a PlayStation Network, and Xbox doing achievements got PlayStation to do PlayStation trophies. Like the companies influence each other in a positive way. That's why I always say competition is so important in the industry. That's sort of like the nugget of truth that I do see in a lot of the concerns about the third party issue. Is there is a concern that Xbox going third party will reduce the competitive nature that we've seen push forward the industry in positive ways. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think the fact that these companies can't even afford to make their own $300 million games is just going to do that organically. I think it's going to end the console war because they don't know how to budget.
How about backwards compatibility?
Yeah.
The 360 provided backwards compatibility with the original Xbox.
This video is amazingly edited, by the way. The VO is great. The music is a really good pick. This dude has 200 subs. I'm going to link to the video. And if you like what you're seeing, give the channel a sub or something.
And while the Xbox One didn't have it at launch, it was eventually added. And out of nowhere, your library expanded tenfold.
Yep.
And not just simply added. Through the Xbox One X, they enhanced many games from both the original Xbox.
Oh, that's right. Like if I go play Fallout right now, it's awesome. It's basically modernized. The original Oblivion was improved. You know, I think the only company that is doing anything even close to what Xbox has done for free, by the way, as part of your purchase, is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is doing that.
And the 360 with massive improvements to frame rate and resolution. Once again, completely for free. Oh, and most importantly, let's not forget that one time I downloaded the Portal demo and was just straight up given the game for free. That was some real cool Xbox. Thanks. I want to circle back to Microsoft's key business moves and how it affected me as an Xbox fan. When Microsoft launched the Xbox One X,
this is nothing to do with third party. This is just like, Xbox is awesome. Here's why. Brett, thank you for becoming a core supporter. I do appreciate it very much.
I was ecstatic. I purchased my first monitor and made sure to go for one with 4K resolution to take advantage of the most powerful console ever released at the time. I wanted to experience games in mind-melting 4K. I locked my pre-order in for the Project Scorpio edition at GameStop. I was there at the midnight release. Everything at home was set up.
I got the Scorpio.
And ready to go for a night of pure bliss. Just a matter of plug and play.
One of the top videos on my channel is me setting up the Xbox One X or the Project Scorpio edition, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I just did it at my house. It's super low budget. I was in it's up northern California at the time. I can't even remember the name of the town. Walnut Creek. Yeah. You can go look at my most popular videos. That should pop up. It was a live stream.
And by golly, I don't remember any of it. Hey, it was back in November of 2017. I can barely remember what I did last night.
I know exactly what I did. You want to know what I did? I bet Clay knows. You want to know what the first game I played was? Clay, if you're there, you remember, don't you? I'll give you a hint. There's a helmet on my shelf behind me. Yeah, that's right. I booted up the original Mass Effect. Yeah, that's correct. On Love Tommy. I used to live out there. Yeah, I played through Mass Effect. I think it was the first one I did.
Let alone over 6 years ago. but I'm positive I loved it back then, because even right now, I remember the One X as being a awesome console. But it had one fatal flaw. It was excellent at running games in 4K, or it was excellent at running games at 60 FPS. Never both.
Whoa, okay. No, internet, you gotta stop thinking that your console's going to do native 4K and 60 frames per second. This is not going to happen. You can either have native 1080p at 60, right? You're not going to get 4K and 60. Not anytime soon. Like maybe the PS6 and the Xbox, whatever they decide to call it, Xbox Series X squared. But like even a super powerful PC struggles to run native 4K 60. It's just like, yeah. Everything's usually up-resed anyway. I think that's just a misunderstanding about how taxing something like that is on the engine. And also games aren't optimized worth a dang most of the time. So, yeah.
I had a blast playing many games, but
yeah, they market it that way, just like PlayStation markets that the console does 8K. Like, it's nonsense. It's just nonsense buzzwords. Yeah. Exactly, Kay.
It killed me to have to choose between the absolute beauty of 4K or the unbelievable fluidity of 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
The Play Anywhere initiative is suddenly
1440p 60. That is the target, Minch. I agree. Absolutely. That should be where you're targeting. And even if that 1440p is up-resed,
much more enticing. Why? Because if you have a powerful enough PC, you don't have to choose between high resolution or high frame rate.
Yep.
You can have both. On top of that, you don't have to pay for the privilege to play online, which, let's make things clear, Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus is ultimately just a fee to be allowed to use your own internet.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying for chat functionality and whatever they're going to tell you marketing wise, but he's right. Both of them are BS.
Let's not kid ourselves. By the end of 2018, I had enough of choosing between resolution or frame rate. Gaming is the greatest hobby.
That's right when I went to PC also. Like, PC became my main platform around the release of Destiny 2. Before that, though, I learned how to play PUBG. So like, I'm like, I am finally going to learn how to play on PC. And you know how I rest my hands on the keyboard? I use W to move forward and back. And I know that's not how you're supposed to play PC games. So like, I have it in the typing keys. I thought that's how you're supposed to play. So I never use lower left control for anything. So old games are really hard for me to play because you would actually offset your fingers. So your fingers, I can't move the camera, but they would rest one over from keyboard typing. You would move it one over, and that's how they would do it. Yeah, PUBG was illegal now. That's right. Anyway, let's continue on.
On Earth, and I wanted to experience it in the best way possible. At the start of 2019, I got a PC that would have no trouble running every game at 4K 60 FPS, and it was glorious. I replayed Gears 4 and Forza Horizon 3, taking advantage of the Play Anywhere initiative. I didn't have to purchase those games again. I already owned them with my transition to PC. Not long after, the Master Chief Collection was announced to come to PC, but not just PC. They were releasing it on Steam.
What? Third party, everybody. And everybody, it was so insane because everybody would criticize Xbox because they released on other things. Like, oh, it's not really a console exclusive. It's like, what's their sell-through rate on the console? Like 10 million units? If PlayStation's at 21 million and they're outselling the Xbox 2-1, let's say Xbox is at like 12 million units, right? Yeah, let's get those games on Steam and PC. That's what I say.
Of Xbox, Phil Spencer would release this statement. As the creator of Windows, we have a unique responsibility to ensure we're investing in experiences that benefit players everywhere, while respecting the PC community's preference for an open, highly customizable platform. We've not always lived up to our aspirations of keeping gamers at the center of everything we do when it comes to the experiences they've had on Windows. Our intent is to make our Xbox Game Studios PC games available in multiple stores, including our own Microsoft Store on Windows at their launch. We believe you should have a choice in where you buy your PC games.
You know, that's interesting because they're just expanding it to the next level, right? Now they're saying like, well, at least for their smaller games. And the reason I don't have as strong of a reaction to this is, again, I don't think that these games are a big deal to see come to other platforms. If it was Starfield, if it was Halo, my opinion might shift. And everybody's like, oh, look, I gotcha. In 2021, you said Starfield's not coming multi-platform, and it never did. And the conversation that they had in that roundtable, it was about those big games. It wasn't really about the smaller ones. At least that was my interpretation of it. If you want me to say I was wrong and eat crow, all right, like I was wrong. Games went multi-platform. But who cares? Who cares at the end? Oh, Hi-Fi Rush can be played by PlayStation players. Uh-oh. Like, Hi-Fi Rush isn't moving units. Sea of Thieves isn't moving units. Pentiment isn't a system seller. So, like, if you're worried about the console, like, the games that they have chosen to go multi-platform are really smart. Because what's going to happen is those players who decide to play on that other platform are like, hey, Xbox does have great games. I guess all this narrative that we've been hearing nonstop isn't really true. There are a lot of great games on the Xbox platform. Yeah, they care. They care, right? Are they going to stop buying Xbox? The people who say yes are so small in terms of number that I don't think it has an overall impact. And I'm not saying that their opinion's invalid or anything like that. They're obviously entitled to their opinion, but I don't think it has a big enough impact on Microsoft's bottom line to say, yeah, we better take Hi-Fi Rush off PlayStation and Nintendo. I think Hi-Fi Rush was just PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which, by the way, means that Hi-Fi Rush can now potentially be played by like 150 million more people, or whatever the number is of sales of those units. It's a smart move. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's a smart move, period. And that's my take on it. I'm not really going to argue about it because we just aren't going to agree on it. But obviously you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine, and let's move on.
And there it is. Xbox officially went third party.
Yeah, Preston. That's the thing. Preston says, I'm not walking away from my 300 plus games in my Xbox library. Yeah. Like Hi-Fi Rush coming out on PlayStation. What? You're going to go buy a PlayStation 5, buy Hi-Fi Rush on your PlayStation 5 and like rebuy all 300 games on that. Like that's not going to happen. Thanks for the content, Destin. Keep up all the great content. Love seeing you more on your own channel. Aw, thank you. Thanks, Baldwin.
Back in 2019. Not 2024.
That was 2019 when they went multi-plat.
Game has been coming to Steam for quite a while now,
yep.
And I've had no reason to buy an Xbox console. This is a definitive win for me.
How come there was no outrage when the games were released on PC day and date? There was no outrage when they were put on Steam. I would argue that people didn't really mind that a lot of the games were multi-plat. They were celebrating when the games that were formerly on PlayStation finally came to Xbox because they're like, Xbox owns these studios now, so the sequels will likely launch here first. I don't see a lot of outrage about Minecraft still being available on those other platforms. Did I think Xbox would do more exclusive content on their platform? Yes. Time's going to tell if that's correct or not. There have been some of the smaller titles released on other platforms, but will Starfield, Indiana Jones, Halo, the next Elder Scrolls, will those come out on the PlayStation 5? That's what we're waiting to see.
A win for PC players and just an overall win for all consumers. This is glory days for everyone. PC players who've never owned an Xbox can try out their new releases. If console players want to take the leap into PC, then they're not left in the dust. They've got games already available thanks to the Play Anywhere initiative. On top of that, Xbox Game Pass is available on PC as well. You're not going to be hurting for what to play. Players now have a choice on where to play their games. If they want to take advantage of the Steam platform and all its features, buy it on Steam.
Yep.
Want to play through Steam, but it's a tad too expensive? Hey, no problem at all. There are a number of trusted third-party key sellers, such as Greenman Gaming or Fanatical, that sell Steam keys for upcoming games at an immediate discount. Yes, you heard me right. On PC, you don't have to pay full price for games, even on release. And with games being more expensive than ever, it's a godsend. You play your PC in your bedroom.
I just want to say I respect the hell out of the Alan Wake team for committing to their vision and releasing Alan Wake 2, like making that passion project and making it everything that it was. They haven't made money on that game yet. And I think they will eventually, but I respect the hell out of anybody that sticks to their artistic vision and releases it, even with the potential chance of failure. I think Alan Wake 2 will get there, but it hasn't happened yet. Bontis, good to see you. It's been a while.
But your Xbox in your living room? No biggie. With cross saves, there's no hassle with switching between platforms.
So
what about multiplayer games? Gears 5, Halo Infinite? They now have a much larger player base thanks to PC players and cross-platform play.
Yep.
There are over 100 million active users on PlayStation. Let's just pretend for a moment that only a quarter of those are interested in playing Xbox multiplayer games. That's still 25 million players. For those who've been thinking Halo Infinite is dead or sunsetting, imagine it launching on PlayStation and getting an unbelievable healthy boost to the player count. And
I'm curious. Thank you, Brett, for the $4.20 Canadian dollars. Love your content. I have my hopes up for handheld. Chat. Important question. Do you think Halo will come to the PlayStation? Just multiplayer. Do you think Halo will come to PlayStation? I think the answer is no. A lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people say yes. Some people say it should. I think Halo's off limits.
And what exactly is wrong with that? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with a game getting more players. There's nothing wrong with getting to play with more people or getting a chance to go up to your friend who's only ever played on PlayStation and saying, "Hey buddy, this is one of my favorite Xbox games. I'd love for you to give it a shot and play a couple rounds with me."
God, I love
more
this game.
people enjoying the games you love is a wonderful thing. Let's not forget about Microsoft's cloud.
Yeah, more people getting the play. Just because I know what the argument is, let's talk about the argument against it. And I don't agree with it, but more people getting to play your games is a wonderful thing. I agree with that statement. I think it's awesome that more people are getting to play Xbox games, and I love to see it. The argument against it is that PlayStation will be less incentivized to compete with Microsoft, and Microsoft will get less creative or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know the argument as well as I thought. I don't really understand why it's bad. I think there's a concern that it will damage the Xbox brand, right? Kay says leave Halo and Gears alone. Yeah, the overall concern though is about Halo going multiplat in terms of going to PlayStation specifically, is that it will somehow damage the Xbox brand or mean Xbox is getting out of the business. At the end of the day, it certainly seems to me like these companies are barely holding it together anyway. So if Halo coming to PlayStation is what it takes for Xbox to continue surviving, then maybe it's what needs to happen. Or in a more ideal scenario, these companies learn how to rein it in a little bit and make some adjustments.
Streaming service xCloud. With xCloud, you literally do not need an Xbox to play Xbox games.
And I think that's the future. I think stuff like xCloud is the future. Is it there right now? No, the latency is way too high. Brett says, with all these first-party Xbox games on the way and nothing from PS5 first-party, do you think that narrative about Xbox having no games will change in the next year or two? It should. I think that narrative's been kind of nonsensical for a while.
Games. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? Any device capable of browsing the internet is able to utilize it. Android devices, Apple devices, the Steam Deck. We're talking phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, smart TVs, even your goddamn fridge.
Ah, damn it. All right, they got me.
Wait, he actually played it on the fridge? Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on my Samsung smart fridge. The future is now. I made that as a joke. I didn't know somebody actually did that. That's crazy.
1 second, guys. Let me grab something to drink here.
That is so good.
All right, I'm back in it.
Insane! And you're probably thinking, why the hell would they do that? What's the point? For the longest time, it's never been about getting people to purchase an Xbox console. As a matter of fact,
they lose money every Xbox console they sell. That's about offering a platform to people that want to enter the Xbox ecosystem or fans that want to upgrade and play the games in their best ability or best quality for a lower price than it would cost to do so on PC.
the idea of an Xbox console is outdated.
I agree. I think the idea of consoles, period, is a bit outdated. At least being locked to those ecosystems, and games are the platform now. I think that's the future that we're going to see happen. Games are the platform now, not the consoles. And if you are not able to have access to that game on whatever you're playing on, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. If Fortnite wasn't on Xbox, that would be really bad for Xbox, right? If Minecraft wasn't on PlayStation, that would be bad for PlayStation, right? Because they still make revenue from those games and those sales on those platforms. I also don't think it would be particularly good for Xbox taking it off of PlayStation. They make tons of money from Minecraft being available on competing platforms. And you know what they do with that money? They dump it into development of other properties and their whole ecosystem. So hopefully that continues. I think things are going to change pretty drastically in the next 5-10 years.
By Microsoft standards, it's about getting you to join the Xbox ecosystem.
Well, he
Think
used
about
the
it
word.
this way.
He
There
said the
are
thing.
millions of players who only ever play Call of Duty on their PlayStation or their PC. Guess who owns Call of Duty now? Guess what logo you're going to see from now on every time you boot the game up?
Is it true that the PlayStation versions don't have the Xbox Game Studios logo on them? Can anybody confirm that? Because that is stupid if Xbox missed the branding. There's no logo, or there is the logo.
And every time you purchase a Call of Duty game for your PlayStation, or a weapon skin, a character bundle, a battle pass, guess who gets a cut of that profit? Believe it or not, it's always been about the money. Let's not...
Whoa, who would have thought that these people care about the money? They didn't put the logo on. When I boot up MLB The Show on my Xbox, that PlayStation logo is bam, right in your face. That is a miss on Microsoft's part.
Kid ourselves. From the very beginning, it's been about money. And until the end of time, it will always be about money.
Yep.
Microsoft is a business. They care about the money. The shareholders don't give a shit about anything other than the money. It's not just Microsoft. It's every business. Let's take a look at Sony. When it takes hundreds of millions of dollars and over half a decade...
Yeah, that was from the FTC leaks. I don't know when this video came out, but now we know Spider-Man 2 costs $300 million. Like, they're looking at their bottom line also.
to make their games, yeah, they're gonna want to make it back. Are you kidding me? PlayStation has pretty much always been the dominant console, and even they're putting their titles on PC. I bought a PS4 to play.
Real quick, you know why PlayStation hasn't released on Xbox yet? Because the Xbox install base is too small to warrant the the cost, I think, to do it. That's my hot take opinion on it. I think PlayStation will not release on the Xbox because there is no incentivization for them to do so. Meanwhile, PlayStation still releases the majority of their games on the PlayStation 4. You know why? 100 million people own PlayStation 4s. 100 million people own a PlayStation 4. That's why we didn't see next gen only games. They have to hit a certain threshold in terms of how many people they can sell to before it warrants that expense of pulling it off of the PS4, right? How many pure PlayStation 5 exclusives are there? Can we count them on one hand? Demon Souls. Is Gran Turismo 7 next gen only? Chat, you probably know off the top of your head, but I think it's like the Demon Souls remake. Yeah, and then the prices of everything went up. That's why I think PlayStation won't do it, but Xbox gains far more from releasing on PlayStation and PlayStation 4 than PlayStation gets from releasing on Xbox. Xbox gets access to 124 million more potential customers. PlayStation gets access to not that. And it's because, as Phil Spencer said, they lost the most important year to lose, the Xbox One era versus PS4. Anyway, let's continue on.
Play Sony's exclusives. I did play a few of them, but the thing ended up gathering dust.
God, I love that game, Shadow of the Colossus. And that's the better one. That's the remade one.
Because I hate using the DualShock controller, and all my games are on Steam. So it's just a pain in the ass to have to deal with the PlayStation.
Well, you know what? That's whatever. That's like his personal preference. But I will say the games are phenomenal, though. I think PlayStation makes some of the best games that I've ever played. Xbox has had a lot of phenomenal games also. Like, I love a lot of the companies that they own now and a lot of the games that they have created. And Halo is one of my favorite. Halo's like the reason I'm in the industry. I'm like in the industry because I made a Halo joke video. Like, that's how I got my start, really, you know? But I think PlayStation does make a lot of great games, and I don't really want to see that go away. And I want to see Xbox continue to improve in their game library. Like, the Gears franchise is great. We haven't heard from Gears in so long. I do like Halo Infinite a lot.
You better believe I was there day one when Sony dropped Days Gone on PC. That game is fantastic. Deacon St. John is a wonderful character.
I need to play
I don't
this.
give a fuck what anyone says. And it was the first game I played on my ultra-wide monitor, and my mind was goddamn blown.
He doesn't need to swear this much.
Then came Horizon.
So, like, if I'm going to give him some feedback, he doesn't really need to swear. He's making really good points. I think swearing doesn't really add a lot for me. I don't know. That's just my, like, I don't know. I think I'm just getting old. I don't like swearing when it's not really necessary. Like, I feel like he's doing it to add emphasis, right? And I'm like, I don't know that that's needed, but maybe that's just how he talks in his style.
Zero Dawn, the Spider-Man games, freaking God of War, Ratchet and Clank, even The Last of Us is on PC. And it's been implied that their strategy going forward might be to begin simultaneously.
No, it's not might. That's definitely where we're headed.
Launching their exclusives on PC the same day as on their console. Oh yeah, PlayStation is a third-party developer just like Xbox, and they have been for a while.
Oh my God, PlayStation's third party, everybody. PlayStation's doomed. Their game. Look at all these games that are on PC. Oh no. Oh, if PlayStation's doomed and Xbox is doomed, it's all over. That's how I feel like when I hear this stuff, because I just see opportunity. I don't know.
For all of this, PlayStation Now was a streaming service that allowed PlayStation games to be played on PC for the
PlayStation Now was first. And it was bad when it launched. I think it's better now. It's still problematic, right? Like, it just doesn't work that great. But yeah.
very first time. When I played through Bloodborne with my best friends, they were both able to join me by playing through PlayStation Now.
That's cool.
And we had a blast. From what I understand, PlayStation Now has been integrated into the PlayStation Plus Premium, so that option is still there. You don't even need a powerful PC or even a PlayStation console to play their games. Just a solid internet connection. Just like Xbox. Let's be real for a moment.
That's great.
The idea of exclusives is not only an outdated concept, but it's anti-consumer. That's why I despise companies like Epic Games and Meta.
Do you understand why, if you look at it, exclusives are anti-consumer? Do you understand why people would say that? Or do you think that's not true? The reason that they're anti-consumer is because you need to spend $500, let's say the console's $500. You need to spend $570 to get that game. You have to. Now, what if you have a PC and it was day and date? Now you have the choice to buy the $500 or not. Meaning you have the choice to save $500. Exactly. Yeah, not everybody can play it. So access is the most pro-consumer thing that you can do. More people being able to play, that is the best thing for the games industry. You don't have to pay for the chance to play it. I think that's very exciting as somebody who loves a platform. Like if you love PlayStation or you love Xbox, you get to talk about, look at all the exclusives I have on my console versus look at all the exclusives I have on my console, right? But is that the best thing for consumers? And it's like, if you really think about it, the answer is no, it's not. The best thing for consumers is allowing them the choice of where they play. If you're an Xbox fan, would you like to play Spider-Man? Would you like to play the Final Fantasy games? Yeah, you would. And if those games aren't your jam, pick a game that PlayStation has that you don't, that you think would be your jam. Would you like to have that on your platform? Yeah, you would.
Because they have a track record of buying studios and locking their games to their respective stores. And don't even get me started on the constant bullshit that Tim Sweeney spouts when it comes to the Epic Game Store. The only real first-party company is Nintendo. And the only reason people seem to give them a pass is because they consistently put out amazing games that...
I don't know that PlayStation does get a pass. Do they? I think people don't necessarily like PlayStation for some of their practices. And they get called out for it. But their games are consistently phenomenal. Everybody knows that PlayStation lives in their own universe. Like they're doing whatever they want and they're successful at it. And they just get a pass for everything.
That don't immediately try to nickel and dime you. Well, for the most part. But lately there's been growing resentment towards the power of Nintendo's console and how it severely affects the quality of their games.
Yep.
If Nintendo decided to put their games on PC, I guarantee you, whatever they put out will break records instantly.
I don't think it would. Nah, I don't know about that one. I don't know. If PlayStation released Zelda on PC, would it break records? I don't know. But then you know what I thought 2 seconds after I said that? Oh, I would totally buy that. If Zelda came out on PC, would you buy it? 1 for yes, 2 for no. If Zelda came out on PC, would you buy it? I would buy it in an instant. Yeah, a lot of ones. Think about it. Native 4K, native 60 frames, like all the best for the Nintendo games. Yeah.
Not only instantly, but constantly. The reason I support...
Imagine if Pokemon was on PC. I think this certain game, PAL something, may not have been as exciting for people, right? PlayStation fans, Nintendo fans would definitely buy their games on PC.
Xbox as much as I do is because they're constantly making choices that benefit the consumer. Unlike Sony's constant nonsense of getting exclusivity deals or locking crossplay behind large and...
This is an old idea. Square partnering with Sony. Something has happened there to make that deal make sense for Square Enix, right? So it seems to be working for Square in some respect. But now Square Enix seems to be partnering with Microsoft to get stuff like Final Fantasy XIV on the Xbox console finally. And I am curious what it's going to look like in a few years, because there's that Forbes piece where they talk about how Final Fantasy 16 wasn't quite where they wanted it to be in the long tail. There are these exclusives that are coming out only on the PlayStation. I'm definitely curious about where it's going to go.
Unnecessary fees. But I'm not here to rag on one company and praise the other. That's the last thing anyone should do. That, in turn, causes complacency and opens up the opportunity to abuse their customers.
Yeah, I think complacency is the concern. That's the main concern, right? People are worried that Xbox won't be incentivized to compete as well, or PlayStation won't be incentivized to compete as well. And I think that's the more concerning thing that fans have.
Reason Sony is constantly pushing the envelope, like raising their prices on their games and services while providing nothing in return, is because they can. It's because they've always been top dog, and they have one of the most loyal customers compared to any brand that will defend them to their dying breath. With all of that being said, let's flip the table. Xbox has fired nearly 2,000 employees recently, with reports predicting the number to increase all throughout the year. Microsoft is a $3.12 trillion company, and instead of just reorganizing the fundamental structure of their studios, potentially moving employees from one studio to another, or providing training so employees can fulfill new positions, they outright fired them. You can say that they were laid off, but let's stop and call it what it is. Nearly 2,000 people were fired.
Well, no, there's a reason. That's not about... A layoff is a lot different than being fired. Fired is performance-based. A layoff is it's like not on the employee, right? So that distinction is actually really important. That's not about praising anybody. Like, the layoffs are still bullshit. But using that terminology is important. Yeah, he has a bit of a potty mouth. That's the only thing I don't like about the video, really. Everything else is great. A layoff means you're laid off due to reasons beyond your control. A firing means you suck. Right? Like, I think if you get fired, you feel worse than if you get laid off, even though you feel pretty crappy after either. But like, that distinction's actually more important than he's making out. Yeah. So
explain to me how it makes sense for 343 to announce that they're currently hiring to meet increased productions across multiple Halo projects.
We have a dedicated team working on supporting Halo Infinite and continuing to deliver going forward. But also, yes, we have additional teams now that are accelerating towards the future, working on brand new projects. So I just want to tantalize you with that. So there are a lot of things cooking here. We could not be more excited. As part of that, I also want to give a shout out. We're actually growing the team right now. So if you're passionate about Halo, if you've got skills and you're interested, please keep an eye on the Microsoft career site, because we are growing, and we've got a lot of exciting things in the works for the future.
And then
okay. So look, he is right to call this out. It's absolute nonsense. But you can't have the physical media guy do networking for multiplayer in Halo Infinite. Like, that's not something you can like train up quick enough for, right? They need experienced people with that particular skill set. So yeah, like the people that got laid off, one of the bigger divisions was the physical media or retail. Like, what are you going to take the retail person? You're going to have them do networking infrastructure. I do agree. I don't want this to feel like I'm defending any of these companies that did layoffs. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just sort of talking about this particular scenario. He's like, well, why don't you just, have them do that? And it's like, well, maybe they did. We don't really know what happened in that respect. Yeah. Anyway, it's not about defending Microsoft or anything like that, but I think it's a pretty That's a flimsier argument.
Immediately seeing reports of developers all across Microsoft and their studios being fired. $3.12 trillion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you're telling me there's nowhere those people could have went? I think the Halo argument's a little weak, but like, they have $3 trillion. There's nowhere you could have, there's like nothing they could have done.
They literally just spent over $75 billion on Activision Blizzard. And suddenly you can't afford employees while at the exact same time saying that you're hiring? And don't even get me started on how well documented it is that Microsoft constantly hires developers on contracts per projects, with no offers for full-time employment. This is the exact reason why Halo Infinite launched in such a terrible state. And what about Sony? Having PlayStation games on Steam has been an absolute dream. Web slinging through New York felt like an impossibility because of how aggressive Sony has been about their exclusives. I legitimately never thought we would ever see Spider-Man, Kratos, or Sackboy on PC, let alone seeing Xbox controls on screen alongside them. And that's really all I got for Sony. They really don't ever make consumer-friendly decisions. But
Yeah, they don't have a great track record.
hey, that's a big one. And
But they make great games. And yeah, honestly, like, my whole thing about swearing is, it's not that he's swearing, it's that it's not necessary to make his point. And I think if you don't swear and you make a great point, it's stronger when you don't use swears to make it. So your point, so like, a lot of people are talking about how much swearing, because I don't usually watch vulgar type content. I'm going to have to bleep this when I do the VOD, for example. It doesn't help your point. It actually weakens your point. If you're going to swear, do it sparingly. So when you do swear, the point is clearer, right? If you just swear all the time, you're just, yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's excessive and unnecessary. But if I say the F word one time in a video, and it's like the first time I've said it in a year, you know I'm riled up. So, yeah. Yeah, he just talked about Sony firing a bunch of people.
love them for it. Companies going third party is a good thing. Oh, well, no. Let me rephrase. It's the best thing that could happen. And the best move that you can make as a gamer is to call out companies on their actual bullshit and to support your favorite games being in.
See, like, I think that one makes a lot of sense. Like, he could have used that there. And if that was the only time he used it, it would be more impactful. But it's lesser because he's sworn too much to the video. Anyway.
Enjoyed by as many people as possible. And the best thing you can do for me is hitting the subscribe button and supporting me on Patreon. Also, sharing it with whoever might share the same sentiment, or maybe someone who might be blindly loyal to a company. We're here because we love games, and we should be excited to share our favorites to those who've never had a chance to try it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya.
I have no idea who this person is. This video was recommended to me randomly. It has like 100 views. It has 245 views. It was released on March 1st. Mostly Positive is the name of his channel. For a channel called Mostly Positive, you should swear a little bit less. That's sort of my hot take on the whole thing. Amazing editing on the video. Great points. I think there's a few. I always think there's a few things, but like, yeah, I think one of my first reacts was from November Hotel. But this is really cool. This is from a channel called Mostly Positive. Christian, so like when I was younger, I would swear a ton in my content. I don't care that he swore. I just think it diminishes his overall point. So it's like he's swearing a lot in the content and chat's reacting to it. They're like, this guy's swearing a lot. Like it doesn't come off as good as I think he plans for it to. So I just think it's unnecessary is all I'm saying. I'm not like, you're entitled to swear. If that's how you talk, that's it. Xbox going third party is the right move. I absolutely agree. I think more people are going to start playing Xbox games. I think the console is one vehicle through which you can use to access the games that you love, right? So it's one vehicle that can be utilized to get people access to the games that you love. But you're missing out on the 100 million other gamers on PlayStation. The most successful Xbox products are not locked to the Xbox ecosystem. You know what the most successful Xbox game is? It's Minecraft. And it's going to be Call of Duty. Does Destin actually not understand the legal distinction between fired and laid off? Laid off means you qualify for unemployment benefits. It's a huge deal. Are you serious? I just said they're very different. And yes, you bring up a good point. Why does everybody do that? Is Destin stupid? Does Destin not understand the legal distinction? You could just say, hey, Destin, don't forget, being fired versus being laid off is very different, because being laid off means you qualify for unemployment benefits. It's a big deal. To be fair on Destin, companies use layoff to fire unwanted employees. Yeah, it is important. The distinction is very important. If you're fired with cause, that's important, right? Good video. Definitely go check that person out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I got to check on the wife. You know who else I need to thank? The members. I very much appreciate you for supporting the channel. As you know, right now, everything's not doing great. So I really appreciate you so much. I keep doing the Sunday streams. I actually have one of the interviews I kind of screwed up on, but I'm doing that this evening. So you should have an interview soon. Hit that join button if you want to become a member. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now. I really appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out.